G'day everyone, and welcome back to Apaya Puzzles and something of a special edition. The puzzle on screen is by Michael Lefkowitz, and I've just completed the puzzle, and we'll cut to that in a second. I'm going to explain the rules first, and also a bit of an introduction to the concept. So this is called Across the Lines. Michael Lefkowitz, who I talk about at the end of the video, and you'll see it's a fairly unusual looking grid, even for a variant Sudoku. It's got a train line running down the middle of it, and it's got these dollar signs on the outside. And you can see in the grid as well, there's a couple of lines across the lines. Across the lines, and then Tracy Chapman. So this is a reference to a song of Tracy Chapman's, and this was on Cracking the Cryptic this morning and was introduced as their most emotional video ever, and for good reason. This is quite a poignant puzzle, and if you're not into variant Sudoku, I reckon this is one worth watching. You may like to watch my solve, or you might like to watch Cracking the Cryptics. I've put a link to theirs in the description. I don't think there's a huge difference in the way that we both approach the solve. But yeah, just wanted to highly recommend it. It's a very interesting Sudoku puzzle, but also has this very poetic and poignant construction, and it's an unusual marriage between puzzling and social commentary, I guess. And yeah, it's fabulous. So let me explain the rules. If you want to give it a try, there'll be a link below. And so let me explain, and then I'll cut to my solve. So we have normal Sudoku rules applying. So despite appearances, this is just a Sudoku where all of the boxes and the rows and the columns must contain the digits 1 to 9 as per normal. Now, whites live between digits with consecutive values. So these white circles, the digits on either side must be consecutive with each other. So you might have like 4, 3, or 2, 1, or 5, 6, 7, or something like that. Blacks live between digits in a 2 to 1 ratio. So these black dots mean that one digit must be twice the other. So if there's a 3 here, the other must be a 6. If there was a 2 here, this could be a 4, or it could be a 1, as long as there's this 2 to 1 ratio. And not all dots are necessarily given. So you could potentially have a 2 with a 1 down here, even though there's no black dot. But where there is a black dot, that must be the relationship. Now, for the unusual rule, we have connect the dollar symbols with a single meandering red line. That red line moves along cell edges and never touches itself. It cannot cross a dot or the train tracks. The regions created by the red line never contain both high values, 6, 7, 8, 9, and low values, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me explain what this means. We've got a line that's starting from this dollar and ending at this dollar, and it's traveling along the indication there, the dotted line. Excuse me. Let's put that on silent. And that line is going to travel around the grid and connect up with itself. So, let's say it did something like this, and it comes around, and eventually it'll get back to the top. But along its travels, it can't do a few things. So it must travel along the edge of these boxes. So what I just did there, going through it like that, is not correct. It always travels along the edge of squares. It cannot go across any of the dots, so that's not allowed. From here, it would have to go down. It can't loop back around on itself, so you couldn't do something like where you come like this. It will just be a single straight line. And it's not allowed to cross the train line, so you can't come across like that. Now also, it has this thing about the regions created by the red line never contain both high values and low values. It took me a little while to understand what this is getting at, but what it's saying is that let's just draw in a line. It's not going to be this, but let's say it was like this. In doing that, it's kind of divided the grid into some sections. In this case, there's a section here and there's a big section around here. And what it's saying is that within one of those kind of confined regions, you would only be able to have all you wouldn't be able to have a combination of bigs and smalls. So as soon as you put a 1 in here, if you knew that there was a 1 in here, you could no longer put 6, 7s, 8s or 9s anywhere else in the region. And what struck me as weird about this was that I thought, well, that is not going to work because we're going to have loads of smalls and bigs over this side of the grid, and they're not allowed to be in the same kind of section as each other. So we're going to need to get the line over here to divide them from each other, because if the line was just over here, then this whole section would have bigs and smalls, which is not allowed. And since we can't cross the train line with the lines, we can't put a line through here kind of thing. I thought, how are we ever going to get the line over here? And I think it's worth mentioning, just as part of the rules, just so it's clear, you can actually travel along the edge of the grid. So you can get around the edge here to get onto the other side, and indeed you get around here as well. So that was my confusion with the rules when I first approached the puzzle. Hopefully that clarifies it from your end. I'll note that there's a point, maybe about 35 or 40 minutes in, where I go down a wrong path for about 10 or 15 minutes. I make a mistake and eventually reach a break where it can't continue. I'll put some markers if you want to skip, some chapter markers if you want to skip over that. But at the end of that mistake, I actually abandoned the video because I thought I can't backtrack. But then I did backtrack and figure out what was going on, so I restarted and finished the video. So bear with me while while I learn how to do these kind of fairly complex Sudokus. This one's 3 out of 5 for difficulty, so it's not too bad, and it was a really cool solve path. It's just I made one error that snowballed into more. So I hope you enjoy. I do recommend sticking with it and seeing where this goes, because it does have some stuff going on about it that is not apparent from what you're looking at right now. That's all I'll say. And there is some interesting information provided at the end of the puzzle as well by the setter. So yeah, you might enjoy this one. Thanks for being with me, and I'll see you all soon. Okay, let's give this a go now. When I first read these rules, I was slightly bewildered because I thought, well, it's quite confusing what this line means. And in particular, I thought the line has to get across to this side of the grid because we have to separate the smalls and bigs. However, we can't go through the train line. But then I probably explained this in my introduction. I realized that means we're going to have to come around the outside of the train line, which wasn't obvious that we could do that, but we can put lines on the outside of the grid. So to get to this other side, we can come around here, and we can come back out around here. So that's that. Now, what else can we say? We've got these classic combinations of black dots. Now, normally speaking, this would go 1, 2, 4, or 2, 4, 8, or the other way around. They're the only ways you can do that. But we have a parity problem, because if we had the 2, 4, 8 version, the 4 and the 8 would have to be separated by a red line, which they can't be along there. So this is either 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 4. So this is always 2. And this is always 1, 4, and is the same as that. And these are all the same color, so actually, or the same parity. So I'll give them a color. Well, they are low, so I think blue is the color for low. Is that right? Yeah. Similarly with this, so these are all blue, and these are all blue. And we also get, in each case, there's a 2 in the middle. Sorry, there. That's a nice little start. these are all the same color because they've got white dots between them. What about 5? Well, 5 couldn't go on here, but 5 is the digit that's a bit tricky because it's not included in either of the sets. But it's still the case. What I was going to say is I couldn't put 3 smalls because that would make 6 smalls and that's no good. But I also couldn't put 2 smalls. So if I put 3, 4, 5, I'm going to break this. So this will have to be a high set, which I'm going to use yellow because I like yellow. Nice, we've got 3, and well, there could be a 5 in there as well, but there's definitely a 5. How do we do that? There's either 3 highs or a 5 and 2 highs. I don't know how to color that. Well, okay. Well, why don't I say I know that they're not blue. I'll just make that purple. But they might not all be high. Okay. I can't separate the train line cells from each other because you can't draw a red line. So doesn't that mean that's 5 cells? They're all the same parity and a 5. Oh, well, that's good because that means that all of these 4 are the opposite. So if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this would be 6, 7, 8, 9. And we know this is well, we know it's not blue, so it's and it's also it's now not purple either, it's actually yellow because these can't contain the 5. The 5 is in here, so these are the other parity and this one's part of it, so that's in that string. So this could still be a 5 in here, but these are all yellow and these are all blue. Hello. Because that means we've got 5 blues over here and these must all be yellow. Oh, and actually more than that, the 5 is in there. Okay, that's cool. Now, I can't put the 5. Does the train line have to all be blue? If I put a yellow here, then there'd have to be a line across, which you can't do. So yeah, I can never put a line across a line across the line. So I can never change the parity from one cell to the next. Yeah, the 5's irrelevant. I was thinking that if I put a 5, since it breaks up the thing, but you'd still need to, if this is going to be a different color, there needs to be a line to separate it from this set, or there needs to be a line across here to separate the 6 from this one. And you can't do that. So I think that means rather drastically that these are all blue, which is great because now we get 4 cells left in here and they're all yellow. We've got 4 blues in here. Now hang on. That's a white dot. So this is also yellow. No, it could be 5. Or well, yeah, so I'm a bit careful with this 5 business. Hang on a minute, let me just slow down a second. Oh, but hang on, why have I got a, oh, that's 6 is not right. I'm going to say 6 is not small. This is actually 6, 7, 8, 9, but I'll just leave it as yellow. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is therefore 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. I'll put that one in just so it's clear. It's not blue. Oh, hang on, it can't, well, of course it can't be blue because we've got 4 blues already. So the rest are yellow and 5. This is really awkward because I can't just put them all as yellow because it makes me think there's 3 yellows here, but the yellow could be 5, which means it's not really a yellow. Do I continue with my line? Let's think. There's got to be a line here. Oh, okay, and that just has to go up, doesn't it? Right, yeah, okay. We can't go across here, so we come across here. This line has to separate the yellows from the blues. We're going to have a line doing that, right? It's looking tricky. Seems fair enough. Oops. So okay, well there's going to also, oh no, that's not. Oh, but it is the case that one of these is yellow. So if that was yellow on its own, you have a little line like that. You can't do that, right? Because the line's just a single line. So that must not be yellow. Yeah, wow, okay, that's the 5. That's, I might start colouring the 5 with a different colour as well when I know it specifically. And then that means there's a 5 there, beautiful. So that allows me to put my yellows in, and hopefully that does not break the line. Line comes up around here. This is no longer 5. Are there lines, are there words there? I haven't seen that. Over the tracks, Tracy Chapman. Across the lines, over the tracks. Hadn't I seen those before? Okay, that's interesting. Ooh, okay, hang on. I just want to see if there's a different colour I can use that makes that clearer. Ooh. Now then, this is interesting. I think that's going to be important. I'm going to use a different colour. I'm going to use grey. Okay. Wow. So I'm a bit thrown by that I think that's getting it where this is going in terms of Simon's announcement of how poetic and poignant this puzzle ends up being. I don't know, maybe they're just the lyrics to the song, but anyway, okay, well we know these are the same colour. Oh, well, they can't be 3, well we've got 4 blues in the row already, so these have to be either yellow or yellow and red. Oh, well, not yellow, grey rather. And then this has to be the same. Again, it's tricky to colour this. I'll make it like that. We've got 4 blues over here, so the rest of these are also grey and red. That's not red. Well, the line now has to come up around here. This has to also separate this out. that's looking a little tricky. Probably missing something fairly clear. Well, down here we still need to, oops, let's use that tool. We still need to, a blue and a grey. Oh, we can probably figure that out, can't we? What's our line doing? There's a line there. If that was grey, we'd have a line like that. If it was blue, we'd be going down this way. And that's always like that, obviously. So this line is eventually going to connect to this, but it could come around like that, I suppose. I might be careful as well that I know that one of those is red, as in a 5. Let's not forget the 2's actually. There's a 2. Oh, sorry, there's 2 there. I was thinking it had to go in there, and that's not small, but it can go there. That digit and that digit are the same because they're not that one. So these two are a pair, so that and that are the same as each other, and then they must go there. Oops. Sorry. What's going on? Like that, and then boom, boom, and there'll be a 1, 4, and a 1, 4, a 1 or a 4, and then a 3 and a 5. So there's a 3 up there. There's a 3 in here, and there's a 3 here. From this, okay. So feeling a bit slow at this point. These are continuing this section here has to be the same color. I don't think I can tell which. This white dot here, it has to have an even number on it because the consecutive pair always has an odd and an even, but it doesn't have 2 or 4, so it must have a 6 or an 8, which means it's either 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, or 8, 9, but it's not blue. So this is grey and or 5 being red. And as a result, now these 5s are really annoying because I don't have to distinguish the 5. That could be part of the blue set, or part of that you don't have to have a line between the 5 and the smalls. So if that's the 5, well, maybe more importantly, this black dot here I completely missed, and that cannot be separated from itself. So this is 2 digits of the same parity. So they are either 1, 2, or 2, 4, and there's definite 2, and the 2 on the right here means that's the 2, and that is blue. Just to be clear, if you had 3, 6, or 4, 8, they would be different parity and therefore need a line between them. So now we get a 2 down there by Sudoku. We get a 3. We get a 3, 5 in here because we've got 1, 2, 4 in the row. So the red's not in here. And then we're left with 1, 2, and 4. And I may as well pencil mark that. These are not. Oh well, there's a 2 in there by Sudoku. This is this is 1, 3, 4, right? That's strictly true. There's no 5s involved. Right, so so I've got 4 blues. I've got 5 blues in this column, and the only blue that can be red is this one, so that's a 5. That means that's not red. These are grey. These 3 are either 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. So this cell here can only ever be a 6 or a 9, the digit that's left out from those. There's a 5 in there. And there is a 5 on here. Ooh. Okay. I don't know which cell yet, but that's nice. Right, 3, 3. There's a 3 in here. Do I know? Oh, sorry. Hang on. Is that all? Accidentally maximize my window there. So this is going well, actually. This is smoother than I expected, especially because I didn't really understand the rule at the outset. Now, what about this white dot? This does not have a 2 on it. If it had a 4 on it, it would have to be 4, 3, which it cannot be. So this as well is grey. And this is actually grey because it doesn't have a 5 on it. So these are definitely 2 grey digits. We've got our 4 grey digits, so this one is blue. And this is this is 1, 3, 4 with a definite 3. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and they're in order, so it's either 6, 7, 8, 9 or 6, 7, 8, 9. Nice, so we get some pairs. So this is 6 and 9, and these 2 remaining digits are 7 and 8. That means this pair can't be 7 and 8, but coming back over here, because we've got a load of white dots going on. Oh, in fact, we've got lineage to do. So that gets separated that way. That gets separated like that. That just goes straight across then. Yeah, because it can't go down because there's already a... no, that's not necessarily a separating line. I made a mistake. No, I didn't, because this can't cross the line, so that does go back, and this does that. So this line must continue on. These must be... okay, that's interesting. This has to go down to separate the blue from... Oh no, that could be a 5. Oh no, but if that was a 5 and this came across, you would then have to go down, which is no good because you can't. So I think that does that, and it has to come this way, or else... I'm just thinking, if it comes down, am I not closing... I wish I'd chosen a different line color actually, because it's hard to... And you can't readily just change the line once you've done all of it like this. Well, I might come back to that in a second, because I feel like I can probably do a bit of other stuff up here. Well, for one, I can separate those two. These are the same grouping, so that the line must... Oh no, the line could go up, hang on. But this is either grey or 5. So one of those two. But this digit here has to be consecutive with 7 or 8. So this is... So 6, 7, 8, 9 would put a 7 here. 6, 7, 8, 9 would put an 8 here. Yeah, so you can't go 7, 6 because then this would have to be a 9 and that wouldn't work. So that's a 7, 8 pair. That means this is not 5 because it has to be consecutive with 7 or 8. So that is 6, 7, 8, or 9. That can be any of them, I think. This pair can't be 7, 8, so it must... 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, I can still... No, it's got a 5 on it, sorry. It's got a 5, so it must be 5, 6, because there's no 4 available. That was available earlier, I think. That means that's a 9, and we can go around the loop there. And now this is a 7 or a 9. This is going swimmingly, assuming I've not made a mistake, which is quite plausible. Now there must be a 3 through here. 3, 7, and 9. So that is not a 3, and that is the 3. Oops. And down the bottom we've got 5, 6, and 8. So this is 5, 6, and that is 8, because these are consecutive. That was the only place for the 5, so we do that, and that. And that means there's not a 5 in there, so they are all grey, which means what exactly? Well, let's... Oh, so they're 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, 9 as well as like this one up here. So that leaves a 6 or a 9 over here. What have I got left here? Is this... Oh, I've got the 6, so that's a 9, and that's a 7. Okay, so it's either 6, 7, 8, or 7, so there's definitely 7 and 8 on there. I'm still not clear about this, what this line's doing. I think it's probably more obvious than I'm realizing, but so this line comes down here around. It has to connect up with this section and come back and then eventually connect. It feels weird. So let's just... I'm wondering if it actually can just close in on itself. Yeah, it might be that it can, because like, imagine I did this, and then it came down somehow like this, and then wrapped around. I think that line there, in theory, something like that works. And I think it might actually be forced, something along those lines, because I'm not very good at this line. There's a principle where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You can count the number of ends of lines. So if this didn't close off somehow, yeah, this would have nowhere to go, I think. Don't know how to properly articulate that. My instinct is that if this doesn't close around on itself, what you're saying is that this line here must eventually connect to this, and then this line has to connect to something else. But what can it connect to? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. So you wind up with this kind of problem where this has to connect somewhere, so it goes to there, and you've got this. Oh, well, I guess maybe that works. No, because I'm closing off a thing here. That's... I might come back around. I feel like I'm not able to properly articulate it, and I may not need to. Let's see what else I can decipher. So we've got... We know more about 5s yet. There's a 5 in here. We know these are consecutive. Now we've got a grey here. So if these were both grey, hang on, well, yeah, one of them's grey at least, right? So oh, well, where's the 5 in the top? The 5's either here or here. Let's just actually pencil mark these at this point. 6, 7, 8, and 9. These are consecutive. There's another one down here and a blue. These are consecutive, so they're 6, 7, 8, 9. That's, yeah, it's not that useful to do. There's a definite 6 and 9 in that set. So this is not 6, 9. From that 6, 9. 8, 7, 9, 5, 6. We've got 1, 3, 4, and 5. A bit crazy on the old pencil marking now. It's probably not a good idea. It does distract me. Let's continue thinking about this line actually over here. So now yeah, there are some bigs in here. So what we can't do is that, I think. I'm forgetting as well that I've got to connect this dollar sign, so that's maybe the better way to think about it. So this line here, where is it going? If it went up and over, in fact, I need more experience with these line puzzles. It's breaking my brain a little bit. I apologize. We know by Sudoku that there's a 3 in there, not there. But that, oh, and actually there's a 1, 4 pair, so that's a 3 now. A 3 in one of those. This is an 8 or a 9 by Sudoku because there's 6, 7 over here, and this is a 6 or a 7. That would be useful. So this can't be a 9. 6, 7, or 8. There is a 9 in there. And I think connectivity problems are what I need to be able to process now. What about over here? Just don't feel like I can get a proper handle. This could be part of the same region. Oh no, that's not true because you can't put a red line here. All right, yeah, these are part of the same, so that must be, there must be a line there. And there must be a line here. And so then it's just a question of where that line goes. I'll come back to that thought if I need to. We've got 4 greys in this column, so now we have only blues and reds left. And the only, no, so these are blue and red. This one at the bottom's not red, so that is blue, which I think I suspected. This is 1, 3, 4, or 5, and this is pretty much anything, but it is blue, so that means we know something about the line. That must go to there. Oh no, it could be red. in which case it doesn't have to do that. Damn. Okay. There's a 2 through the middle here. Sorry. Let's quiet that down. What are we? 30 minutes in. It's not too bad, but I'm rather stuck. The line now is going to continue along the bottom, and this has to come out as well. Can't go up, and see, it can go down though is the thing, and I feel like it probably does. But this, ooh. That's not a line there. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how long I had that line there. But I think I thought it had to be. Wow, hang on. This is not promising. I feel like this is stranded. Because the 9 would have to be separated from it, and then you get that. That's not. Dang. That's impossible. I hope I didn't run awry on account of the 5 problem, thinking that one of these digits was grey and not. That's probably terminal, I think. I mean, what would this have to have been? I think it would have to have been grey. But according to my thinking, it can't be. Actually, I'm just going to go back some steps because I was going to say I didn't have 4 blues, but I did apparently have 4 greys. So that can't be grey. But it can be. It can be 5. Right. Is that what I missed? I did know that it could be 5, but I think I missed it when I was just thinking about it now. So if that's 5, that allows the 9 to get out. That's exactly how we are. Thank God. I was convinced that was the end of the recording. So these are blue. Hopefully this now is more workable, and that also means we can get the line across here. But let's come down here because that comes along there, that comes along there, that must come further. Oh no, it could go up, of course. I mean, it's very tempting to do that, but I'm not convinced quite on that. I know I'm being real dim here. Like, I'm sure that I'm missing something really clear, and everyone's very upset. So if this was blue and this was grey, we'd be coming around like that. Interesting. I've got 3 blues along there. Well, potentially that could be red. Still wondering about these. I've got a definite purple, I've got a definite one purple. I just can't see it. I mean, whatever happens, this line is eventually connecting to this line, either directly or by some other route. Oh, so it doesn't have much. I say that might not be correct. What if this came around here? Did I look at this before and then comes up? Yeah, I think that might have been the option that I thought was probably right. Damn. Oops. So there'll be a principle here that I'm missing of connectivity that forces that. This line is either going to come out, and then if it came down, so this line's either connecting to this one or to this one, but not to this one. So if it connected to this one here would be isolated. So this one, where's that connecting? It can go down. If this connects to this bottom edge here, connects to this, then this one, I just don't think that can work. I don't know why I can't picture it. It can't connect to that because it would close in a section. It would become a loop, which it can't be. And so the alternative is that it comes to, yeah, it just can't work, because wherever it comes to, it's going to be locking something in. If it comes to this one, then this has nowhere to go. If it comes to this one, though, they connect, and then that can come around. Let's just look at that. So if we did this, well, that itself can't work because you have too many digits of the same thing in here. But maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Wow. I mean, there's probably an easier way, but if this was going to connect to this, which it would have to in this case, it has to come across. It can't come up through these white dots. And then it would have to come up and have to duck back around to give enough blue digits. But then it's going to connect up to this one. Wow. I'll be keen to watch Simon solve to see if he does this in a much better way. But I feel like I'm going to go now on the basis of intuition and some of that reasoning there, that this cannot connect to this. And so it must connect to this somewhere along the way. Which means that this one must connect to this one. So it's going to have to come up through here. And it can't interfere with this one, so it just has to come directly like that. Gosh, I think that's correct. Surprising as that is. And then these have to be blue because we've already got, and maybe we've already got 3 greys. So we can't have 2 greys in there, so they must be blue. So they are 1, 3, 4. Let's pray. There is a 3 in there. Now, as for the rest of the line, what's all becoming forced now, that has to go there. This is going to come and connect to this. This cell here now is grey. That's beautiful as well because, oh, there we go. Have I missed any more of those? We've got, wow. Okay. So So let's come around. We've got 4 grey, so we need another blue. That's going to be there. It's going to come around. Oh, that's interesting. What tells me... I might have made a mistake. Damn, I really hope I haven't. I'm just thinking, what would be the difference? I know. I was gonna say, like, how do I know which way this line goes? But I think actually what happens in here must make the difference. It must be that this is blue, so that this line has to come around. Because if that was grey, then this line could go that way or that way. So that will be blue, but I need to prove that more logically. That's kind of based on a uniqueness argument, I guess, which we like to not use. There's no 3 there. So there's 1, 2, 4, and 8 or 9. There's an 8 definitely here. Yeah, so then these cells here are from 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, but they can't have an 8 because there's an 8 on here. So there's an 8 here by Sudoku. Is the symbol, and so that's a 6, 7 pair. So that's a 9. That means this is the 6, 7, 8 triple that we imagined. 6, 7 goes with. So now the 9 is there. Now there's 9 on here, so that's by Sudoku, so that's an 8, 9 pair, and that's a 6, 7, which, wow, okay, beautiful. 6, 7, it's really flowing now. 6, 7 pair makes that an 8, that a 7, that a 9, that a 6, that a 9, gosh. So that's an 8, so this had to go, this always, the central digit would have always been 7 or 8, I think, but now it's a 7. Now there is definitely a 2 in there for what it's worth, but we're going to get a 9 here. Oh, hang on, no, I don't like that. Isn't that the wrong color? This would become blue. I say the wrong color because I don't think I know how to. How do I know whether the 5 belongs with the blues or the greys? So I could draw the line like that, or I could draw the line like that. Well, I'm not going to be able to backtrack to fix that if that is a problem. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that that's kind of part of, there's something deliberate about that, like there's a deliberate glitch in the puzzle in line with the theme. I doubt that's true, but I'm going to have to hope because there's no way back at this point. Let's see what we've done by Sudoku. So this dot does not have a 2 or a 4. I could have done this all along. Oh no, I knew this was either a 6 or an 8, didn't I? But if it has 6, it would be 5, 6. It can't be 6, 7. So it's either 5, 6, or it's got an 8, which can't go with a 9, so it would go with a 7. So that's still pretty. Hang on. So 5, 6, 7. Five, 6, 7 would go with 8, right? 9, 6, 3. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that would reveal itself. Well, let's think again then about. I think I'm missing stuff up here with the line as well. Well, obviously I am, but at this point I feel quite disheartened because I don't think this is going to solve correctly because of this 5. So what are we, 45 minutes? Let's try not to be too slow. I'm just basically looking for Sudoku for a second because, or a black dot or a white dot that I've ignored. I think it must be connectivity now. This has to connect. So if this did not go down, it would have to go this way. Then because they're all greys, it would have to go that way. These would become blues. Right, no, hang on. Oh yeah, I guess you could do that. Am I getting that? No, we've got a similar problem with connectivity, I think. So where does this line go? I think this has to connect to here. No, that doesn't seem right either. If this comes across, then that's a 3. Then this line here can't go, unless this can go across the top. No, it's got to join from here to here, so that's the starting point. So what did I just do? I said if that goes across, then this line would have to go across as well. This line would connect. Oh, I see, and then this would close off potentially. In fact, that's interesting, because if this goes here, that's a 3, this is a big, and this does close off. If that's not a 3, oh, that can't be a 3, can it? Because then you have 7, 9. No, that can't be a 3 in the middle, because then you'd have to have a line there and a line there. And this is the starting point, so you can't do that. So that is not a 3. Right, and if this was a 3, this would be a big, and there'd be a line between them, but we can't have that. Okay, so that is 7, that's 9, and that's 3. This is huge. 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. But I feel strange about this because I'm still confused about this bit down the bottom, and I'm not fully confident with my... So now this is a 5. Oh no, the 5 could still be there. Okay. Oh no, it's got all 4 blues, so this is a 5. That should be helpful. What have I done? There we go. So these are 4. 1, 3, and 4 with a definite 3. The 5 takes the 5 out of there. So it's 6, 7. Can't be 6, 7 because of this 6, 7 pair, or 6, 7 candidate pair. So this is 7, 8. This is 6. This is 9. This is 8. This is 7. These now are grey. These can't be grey because the only grey that could be on there would be a 6, and we'll have to go with a 5, and you can't have a 5, 6 because there's a 5, 6 that would be obliterated over there. So these are blue, which interestingly blue and red potentially. It's so easy to slip up on that. So these are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still need a 6 down here. So that's a 5, that's a 6. Oh, that's good actually, because we now know there is a 5 on here. So this is, oops, this is 4 and 5. I don't know if that's resolved yet, but there's no 4 there. So that's a 1, that's a 4, that's a 1. 2, 3, and 6. There's already a 2 in the row, so it's just 3, 6. So that's 2. That's not 4. That's a 1, 4 pair now. So that's a 3. It seems to be working, but it's very surprising because I still don't know what's going to happen down the bottom corner. Let's think about our line here. That must go to there and then complete the 9. That can't be a 6, can it? Because if that's a 6, it's got to be separated, but it also needs to be separated from the 3. So the 6 is here. And let me just spell that out. So if this was a 6, you would need a line to separate these, but you would also need a line to separate the 6 from the 3, so you'd end up with the 6 doing all sorts of wacky things with lines. So that means that this must come this way with a 6 included. And this is a 3. That is a 3 in the box. That's a 5. Oh no, sorry. Oh, disaster. Disaster. Oh, God, are you kidding me? Yeah, this has been wrong for a while because I already had an X-wing on 3s, and that would place a 3 up here. Okay, so one last attempt here. I backtracked again and actually realized something. Looking at Simon's video, these were not as resolved as what I had, and I had put an 8 in the corner on the basis that there had to be an 8 by Sudoku, but actually the 8 can be in either of those two. It's not necessarily in the corner. So let's have a look. 6, 7, 8, 9. This is always the 7 or 8. I'm determined to finish this even if you guys don't get to see it. I think I can do the same reasoning up here to take the 3 out of there. That takes the 3 out of there. That is blue, so this is red. Now then, what do we do? Well, let's colour. That tends to help. Let's draw a line. Now, if these two were grey, that would be a problem because we'd have, even if it was a 5 involved, so these are blue, or with a 5, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa. Let's use numbers, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do get that. The 6 must go in here, which makes this a 5 and a 6. Which means there is a 5 on here. So this is all the same. So it feels like, why is it not, I keep pressing the wrong buttons. That makes this a 1, 4, 1, 3, 2. That's a 2. that's a 4, that's a 3. So this is all just Sudoku. There is a red in there, great. This again, this has to be the 6 here. This has to be the 3, which makes that a 3 and that a 5. That's so that we could make this, oops, this line work. And this up here is 7, 8. So that's a 9, 7, 9, 6, 9, 7, 8, that's a 9. This is in order, so 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 8, 7, 6, 9, 7, 8. 7, 8 in the column makes that a 6, 9. No 7 in there anymore, that's a 7. Let's get rid of all these pencil marks. So that's a 6 or an 8, this is a 7 therefore. You have a 6, 8, 9 with a 9 in one of, with a 9 in the corner. Oh, that is different. There we go. I think I ended up with 6, 7, 8 before, and now I've got 7, 8, 9. Aha. I might well have solved the puzzle. 7 was 8 and 7, 6 and 9, 6 and 9. We still need a 3 there, so we get that. So I've done all of this without having to consider the arrangement of lines. In fact, that ends up quite different because of that grey cell. So this comes around, comes to here, this comes out, this does come down, I think. Let's just see what we've got left here. So, oh, it's a 1 and a 4, so they're both, check that, that's both blue, and we've got to place a 2 there, which is blue, and then we've got to place a 6, which is grey. So the line does go differently. If I'd only done the Sudoku before I did the line machinations, so yeah, this comes across here and up here. Yeah, so it was, and then this, I'm getting lost with my line now, like that, yes, and then that circles around. Amazing. Okay, I must be very close to the finish now. So I've got a 1, 4 pair. That's a 4, that's a 5. Let's clear up the colours. Bunch of 1, 4s, and that's resolved by the 1 at the top. So that's 4, that's 1, that's 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Okay, I'm going to read that in just a second. I'm going to like the puzzle. I just want to look at the puzzle. Across the lines, who would dare to go under the bridge over the tracks that separate whites from blacks? Tracy Chapman. I'm just going to clear up my colouring there as well. And complete my line. Incredible theme and execution. That was a very smooth solve despite a few glitches from my end. Now let's see what that said. No, that's, how do I, can I get that to come up again? Oops, hang on. There we go. Thank you for solving this puzzle. Lyrics are from Across the Lines, released in 1988, just a few months before I was born. Redlining refers to discriminatory lending practices in the US, such as banks refusing to provide mortgages in majority black neighborhoods. Redlining is now illegal, but it partitioned US cities along race and class lines that can still be seen today. Wow. Now, got to make mention of Michael Lefkowitz, who's been, I'm not sure if it's a V or a W pronunciation, who's been producing a huge volume of very high level puzzles in recent times. I think, I'm not sure how new they are to solving, or to setting, but I hadn't seen Michael until, I guess, late last year maybe, on Cracking the Cryptic. It's had a load of puzzles featured on there. They're just so good and quite often unusually themed. And this one is really next level. Just a wonderful solve path. And yeah, I've often thought that there's so much scope and value in puzzles, because puzzles are, on the surface of it, they're very kind of dry and analytical. Even if not dry, they're analytical, and their appeal is really quite a nerdy niche kind of thing, on account of just the thinking that's required to solve them. It's a certain kind of person that's going to bother and end up being able to kind of build up that knowledge, but that within that community, at least, there's so much scope, I feel, for puzzles to leach out into more complex concepts outside of the world of puzzling, like this one here. I think the same is true of cryptic crosswords. And this one as well is an example, not just of this kind of social theme that's going on, but some of the visual stuff. So we've got words in the grid, we've got a train line, there have been some other puzzles that have had imagery involved, and I think there is just a lot of potential for artistry to come into these, that is genuine traditional artistry, that is aesthetic, colour, etc., beyond the artistry of the geometry and the calculation and the analytics of it. So, and I mean, what a brilliant way to divide this grid up with these black and white dots, which are a standard piece of variant Sudoku cluing, but to do it in the combination with this segregation line. I'm just going to complete my line. I think that might be the missing piece. So yeah, I'll stop my waffle there, but thank you to Michael, thank you to Cracking the Cryptic for bringing this to my attention. I'll put a link to Simon's video for anyone who's interested in watching. He may have had a more efficient path, although as I was flicking through to see where he'd gotten to, broadly speaking, it was similar stuff. I didn't listen to his analysis, but the way that it was playing out looked broadly the same. But yeah, thanks again. If you like this kind of thing, then I do highly recommend Cracking the Cryptic for this kind of content, and of course my own channel, so do subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. I'm a bit of a fledgling solver of Sudoku, so thank you for sticking with me through some of the challenges there. I figure the more I do and the more I force myself to publish despite being a little embarrassed by my performance, the better I will become. So thanks for being with me on that journey, and have a great day. Happy puzzling. I'll see you all next time.